Hey everybody, welcome back to Skygrid with Boomer. And so today, I want to just kind of fill you in on a few things. This is going to be kind of, we're doing a little bit of building, but not a whole lot. No specific game plan really, we're just going to kind of hang out. One thing I do want to kind of show you just a little bit of here is this new building you haven't seen before. This is my mushroom farm. I'm going to go up to the top of it here. And actually, we're going to shut some of this stuff off. My apologies, guys. I should have had this done ahead of time, but I needed to get up here. This is the top of the mushroom farm, the inside of it, so you're not seeing the whole thing. I'm not going to do this today, but I will show you this at a later date. But it is a water-based dispensing farm to collect all the mushrooms. As the water fires, it breaks loose the mushrooms. There are suction hoppers in the middle of this tower, which will pick it all up for me and then teleport it to storage. So this is still in progress. This additional building here is the power generator for this building in case the power should go out. It's a backup power supply. Now, what it really does is it is a timing mechanism in here, sends a redstone pulse underneath and sends it up this tower to fire the dispensers. Underneath the building is a bunch of electric circuitry through redstone to send it to the other sets of dispensers. But that's not what we're going to do today. We'll talk more about this in a later episode because I want to show you how it's built. The only downside to it being a water-based redstone timing system is that if I were to leave the chunk at the wrong moment, where the redstone circuit is fired but not completed its circuit, if I'm gone and it's out of, the chunks unload, that signal stops, but the redstone doesn't fire the dispensers, and I come back and I'll find every dispenser in the tower has been fired. And it's all full of water, not growing mushrooms. So I have to go back and manually trigger a single pulse to kind of fix it up. So I'm looking at other options. One would be using a sticky piston attached to a bunch of slime blocks under mycelium. I don't want to have one of those super laggy ones though, because I don't want to cause a server lag. So I may put two different designs together. I may take this one down and redo it. We're going to kind of keep an eye on it and see how often it happens. And if it's happening more than, say, 10% of the time that I leave the area, I think we're going to go to the piston firing one because that one won't break anything. Even if it doesn't fire, the mushroom will still be there. And so that's kind of where we're going to look towards going maybe. But I do have to build it in a way that doesn't cause, the lag of 1,000 pistons firing. So that will be a whole lot of sticky pistons going in. Previous episodes we've talked about these rings, and now we've got the third ring is actually completely in place. I went back and I platformed 30,000 stone blocks back in here to give it some background, and I think I had to do 20,000 on the other side and then enough grass back that way. I did 30,000 and just enough here to give me some depth to where this lines up. And then we got all this filled in. This took roughly 1¼ shulkers of black concrete powder, and it took approximately, I was around 1¾ shulkers of light gray to fill this all in. As the circles got bigger, obviously much more material. The first inner circle is 68 block diameter on the outer ring. The second circles is 138. This is a 208 block circle that I had to clear and path and fill in. So what we've been working on today now is going through, and after we got that done, is we're getting the sea lanterns and the leaves in place. So we're going to do a little bit of that today, and I do want to kind of talk about how things are going on the server right now. We're a little bit over 3 months in. And so I just kind of want to we're going to be a talky episode for here for a little while anyways. But just to kind of fill everybody in, and if there's anybody who's watching who isn't part of the server, first of all, thank you for taking the time to tune in. I realize there's a billion other, YouTubers out there much better than me who are doing some really cool things. And if you're sitting here taking the time to watch this, I really appreciate it, and it means a lot. And then for those of you on the server, you guys know, I love every one of you. I'm glad that, we've had the opportunity to spend time, getting together, know each other, and working together. So there are a lot of plugins, and I want to kind of update you guys on where, talking with some of the staff and where we're at to kind of see what's going on. One of the things I'm really excited about, finally, Items Adder. Now, I've done, and I've talked about this on camera and in chat quite a bit, I've done very little with Items Adder for two reasons. One, I have so many plans for this base that it's been kind of hard to get caught up in that kind of a grindy thing, and Slimefun, and grid clear, and build, and everything else. Not only that, I've been a critic of Items Adder because the poor in-game documentation. It really is not user-friendly, and it was one of those to where I just said, you know what, if it ever disappeared, I could do without it. Now, 3 months later, I've had a little bit of time to look into it a little bit more. It still drives me crazy on the lack of documentation. I figured out a little bit more of it, but I want to give you some history on how it got to Skygrid and Skyblock. Initially, Items Adder was only going to be in survival. Items Adder, we had another unique plugin feature that Fan had added for survival where there's some unique new dungeons and mob bosses. And Items Adder fit in pretty good with that as far as terms of rewards and options. And it was really popular, and a lot of people were asking for it on Skygrid and Skyblock, and so Fan put it on both. So we got it about a week and a half, 2 weeks, or maybe it was 3 weeks after the server reset. And so, you know, a lot of people were in a swing of figuring out Slimefun. And oh, by the way, here's another 528 items for you. And the thing has no documentation, and we have no dungeons. So we have a lot of uncraftable, unobtainable items. Well, unfortunately on Skyblock and Skygrid, you know, it created some frustrating moments because there's no way to tell how to craft these things. There's no documentation. There's no recipes. And so people were pissed, and rightfully so, on Grid and Block. Survival was loving it because they could get all those things. So Fan found a workaround where the items were added through vote keys. Once vote keys were launched in February 1st, at least those other tools that were uncraftable and unobtainable now were obtainable. And you can remove the enchants, and you can, you know, vanilla and crazy enchants are able to be removed with the help of Slimefun. And so you can get the demoniac, I think I'm pronouncing it wrong, the demoniac sword or demoniac sword, which has a 5,000 durability to it. And then you can remove all of the enchants that come from it from an ultra or a legendary key and rebuild it. Now, to some extent, it's not 100% customizable. For example, if you have let's say you put it through the auto disenchanter, and in vanilla, you have sharpness 10, unbreaking 6. If you put an unbreaking 10 book on there first, and then try to put the sharpness 10 book on, the unbreaking will downgrade to 6. So you have to kind of think about what order you put the enchants on first. Once you've done that, you know, so for example, if I use the disenchanter and I get a book with sharpness 10, looting 9, I can't take the looting 9 off the sharpness 10. I'm stuck with them together. So you have to kind of decide and be careful if you're doing that, you know, which books do you want to get and which ones do you have so you can create the ultimate tools in your mind. But having that ability, I think, is something really nice that we've never had before. So now you can really kind of customize OP tools and armor. So Items Adder is getting an update. Now, I don't know what's going to be in an update. We're hoping some documentation and a couple of bug fixes. Moving on to McMMo. Very exciting. McMMo has been one of the most rock-solid plugins we've had on the server. So to those devs, great job. They've always done a phenomenal job. They did a major overhaul recently. Did leave us with 1 or 2 bugs, which I believe are being addressed with this update, and a couple new features are being added. So I'm looking forward to it. I just found out last night, I believe, from one of our admins that this is coming. We're excited, at least I am, looking forward to see it. I know they're kind of testing a couple things at the moment, and so hopefully once they've decided it's good to go, we'll get to see it. Maybe we probably should do another McMMo episode and just kind of talk about some of those things a little bit more in depth. I think we just kind of did it in passing with the skills that I needed to work on. and what was attributable to my base design. So I think I'd like to do that, and if you'd like to as well, just leave me a note in the comments saying, hey, Paul, Boomer, MCMMO it, baby. Go big or go Boomer with the MCMMO, and I can't even say it. So that's kind of something that we'll do. If you'd like to do that, let me know. I realize I'm not going to have 5,000 comments on it, but, one person wants to do it, I'll be happy to do it. So, Shar, thank you for all your help today, by the way. You were over earlier helping with Spruce and watching all this and keeping me awake. She was a great help in helping me stay on track today. So if you want to see the MCMMO, I'd love to do it for you guys. Let me know. So that's the third section. There's one more section over here that still needs to get done. We'll go ahead and work on it a little bit. And then I'll probably work on the outer section off camera. I don't want to keep you guys bored all day long, but I do want to keep going here. Slimefun. When Slimefun first came on the server, I hated it. I hated it with a passion. I hated it with every being. I hated modded. I had spent some time with Sky Factory, and unfortunately, Sky Factory was it wasn't my first experience with modded, but it was my first experience with any kind of major modded. I'd done some little stuff like the Carpenter's mod years ago and a couple of other things. For those of you who have played or know about Sky Factory, you know how insane it is. You know how over the top Sky Factory is, and insane grindy. It's even much worse than Slimefun. And so it turned me off to modded. I hated modded with a passion. I didn't ever want to touch another mod again. When we reset, I had all these vanilla plans, and what happens? We became a modded server. So I've had to adapt. I've had to be willing to try it, and luckily with the help of a few good players who are willing to be patient with me and work through my frustrations and some of the things, I learned a lot about it. At this point, I would consider myself an expert on Slimefun. I think there's still some more to learn yet, and I want to learn those things with you guys as well. And I know there's a few things I've been learning from other players who have spent time doing stuff like the multi-tool. I've done absolutely nothing with that. I want to learn more about it, what it means, how to use it. At some point, I want to build some jetpacks. I'd like to get a couple people together and have some races around the grid with jetpacks to see, one, how far they can last on a full charge, but two, just to have some fun. Now, Slimefun has had a number of bugs along the way. I know some of them have been recently fixed, or at least working on it. There's still a number of them. But I don't know if Fan's been working it on his own, if he's been poking into the code, or if we're actually getting some back from the devs. There's just some bad code that needs to be fixed, and hopefully that's the case, is that they've been able to fix it and get some adjustments made, because I think there's a lot of great things in Slimefun, a lot of awesome features. And, I'd really like to be able to take advantage of some more of those consistently and do more with that, and we're hoping that's the case. So whoever's been fixing it, and if it's Fan, great job to you. If it's been a devs or some combination thereof, I'll tell you I'm appreciative of it. Thank you much. The one big thing that I was really looking forward to seeing get fixed was the barrels. Everybody was warning me, Boomer, do not use the barrels. Do not use the barrels. They are glitched. We had people putting, 40, 50, 100,000 items into some of these Slimefun barrels, and they pull out one stack, and almost all of their stuff would disappear. They were interfering or being interfered with by the Upgradable Hoppers. We're pulling items out of the barrels. We had problems with biometric protection not working, where anybody could access a protected barrel. A lot of those seem to be fixed now. I put in 9 deep endgame storage barrels that hold over 1 million items each. I put 9 of those in my Slimefun dust collection bin. It's been 3 full days. I also have one large one in there for the uranium, because I don't think I need 1 million uranium. But anyways, I've not had a single glitch. Nothing has gone wrong. The protection is still there. All the items are still there. As far as I can see, I have not lost one item. So a lot of those things are getting fixed. Like I said, MCMMO is well underway. Items adder is going good. I looked at the Craftbook plugin. I've been trying to find some things in Craftbook that we can talk about and feature here. I'm a little struggling. It's not that Craftbook is a bad plugin or has problems. It doesn't. I've yet to see I take that back. There is one. There's a fern plugin part of it where you can farm ferns. That one doesn't work at all. What you're supposed to do is break off the top half of a double, tall fern, and the bottom stays and grows again. It doesn't do that. That one's never worked. But other than that, I haven't found any of them that are broken. The problem is I haven't found any of them that have been useful for me yet. Now, I'm going to talk with Tama because she really wanted that. Now, the pipes plugin is great. I love the pipes plugin. I have that as part of the Craftbook. I use that for some farms. I need the elevator in there is awesome. I want to get with Tama. There's a bridge in there, an automatic bridge that can be made, and some other things. I want to see what she uses it for, what she really likes, and then get some feedback from her to feature some of those things. If nothing else, just to help make people aware of it. The upgraded hoppers got a major overhaul. A lot of code updates, a lot of fixes, a lot of upgrades, even to the ability to each feature. So I can teleport items further. The suction range has been increased, the suction amounts, everything got increased. Everything has been going really good. The black-white list and whitelist functions are much better. I have not had to fix a hopper since that last upgrade. Every one of them has held their ground and is doing what they should be doing. And so, as a whole, guys, I know there is no such thing as a perfect server. There never will be. No code is ever going to be so perfect that it can interact with 20 other plugins that have 100 different features each. If you ever expect a server to run perfectly that has plugins on it, I'm sorry, you're delusional. It's never going to happen. You don't believe me? Why don't you talk to the experts in the business? Go talk to Iscal85. Go talk to Zoomovoid. Go talk to DocM77. Go talk to the guys on SciCraft. It doesn't exist. There is no such thing as the perfect plugins. And then when you have this many plugins, I know CurseForge does a very good job of trying to balance them and to keep them from interfering. I think we're on a Spigot plugin, a Spigot server. So I don't know a whole lot about server stuff. That's not my thing. I really don't care as much. And maybe that makes me a little ignorant at times when talking to Fan. I'm okay with that. It helps me learn when he's patient enough with me. I know at times I get a little irritable about it, but my apologies. Spigot's a little bit different from my understanding, and so it works a little bit differently. There will always be bugs, guys, and I'm telling you from life experience, your attitude is 90% of how you will enjoy the game. If you let that 10% of what happens to you control your 90% of your attitude in game, not only are you going to hate the game, you're going to be a rotten person to be around in life. And this is one of those life stories. This is one of those Go Boomer moments I want to have with you guys. John Maxwell, who's a great author, great leadership author who has tons of best-selling books, and a person that I respect very much, not only as a Christian, but just as an author. He's got it so right. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of your attitude and your response to it. And so we can all sit here and complain and whine about the plugins that don't work on the server once in a while, who have minor bugs. And even if there's a couple major ones, I get it. It's frustrating. It's a video game. Guys, if you're whining about it, shut up, get over it, and let's move on, okay? Life is too short. There's a lot of things I've complained about in here, and I've had to take my own medicine a couple of times. It is. Life's too short. Have fun. Enjoy the game. And if it doesn't work quite the way you expected, it tells me one of two things. Either your expectations are wrong, or your attitude about it needs to change. And if it isn't working right now, great. Do something else until it is. Because I'll guarantee you there's one thing I've noticed over the years, even though I might always agree, at least Fan addresses and tries to get issues fixed. And I guarantee you, he spent more time with this map, I think, and working with plugin developers than ever before. And part of that is because Mojang changes so many things, it frustrates a lot of the plugin developers to where a lot of them don't even want to update their stuff because too much changes. I don't mean updates to new features. I mean they simply change the foundation in which the plugins even function. The environment, the coding environment sometimes becomes a little bit too rough to where people don't want to deal with it. And so having talked with a couple of the devs, I said, it is a challenge. It's not like you're updating a feature in Microsoft Office. We're talking about overhauling your entire plugin at times. So, be patient, have fun. Don't let the stupid things of life kind of beat you up and take over, control your attitude. You'll live a lot longer. You'll have a lot more fun. And you know what? It gives you the ability in Skygrid to go boomer. And that's the fun part of it. And so I think we're going to wrap up today with that. Next episode, we're going to have some fun, guys. We're going to do two things. One, we're going to talk about this mushroom farm. But two, what I've been looking so forward to is the server tour. I've gotten to go spend a little bit of time at some other players' warps. Guys, there's some amazing builds out here already. Some very young, talented players have come to the server. A lot of teenagers who have some great ideas, some new ways of looking at things I've never thought of. So, excuse me. Oh my gosh, my Diet Coke just said hi. Some very unique ways of looking at builds, some great shops, and I don't necessarily mean pricing, just simply builds. There's some awesome things going on the server, and I want to feature and showcase some of those. And so if you are watching this and you are playing on the server and you would like me to consider that, please get a hold of me in game, leave a comment below, send me a message, whatever you got to do. We're not going to touch my base at all, except for maybe the mushroom farm, but I'd rather would do the base tour. I want to feature other people's builds. A lot of you have come on and you've seen my stuff, and I've asked you to come to the base to check it out, give me your opinion. I'm so grateful that you've done that. I love a lot of the ideas you guys have suggested. But I want to see your stuff now. And so that's the next episode. We may start that shortly after this uploads. I might start it later tonight. I have 3 bases very specifically. And no, I'm not going to say your names yet. I want it to be a secret when it happens. If you happen to be online, by all means, I'm going to invite you to join into a Discord chat with me so that you can talk about it on video. I will reach out to you guys to see if you're interested. If you're not, I respect it. That's fine. I do want to feature your base though on the server and on the next video. So we're going to say thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, if this is something that you've been kind of playing with, I please encourage you to subscribe. Tickle that like button if you're having fun. But always, we say this on Grid, you got to go boomer or you got to go home. We'll see you later.